Nintendo just came out and announced the exact timing for the Nintendo Direct, which is on April 2nd at 9 a.m. Eastern, which is pretty early for a lot of us, which is still 56 days away. With this extra announcement today, I think it's safe to say that we're not getting a February Nintendo Direct anytime soon. Maybe we do still, it's hard to say, but with Nintendo enforcing that we're getting this April Direct, they're really keeping our eyes on this thing. Now with the date and time set, I want to start talking about what we could actually be getting in this Nintendo Direct, and I'm not going to do a huge blowout. I've already done that multiple times. Instead, I'm going to be talking game by game. A couple of weeks ago, I've already made a video talking about 3D Mario, and of course, we already know a new Mario Kart is coming, so what's left? Well, with a brand new console comes a whole new generation of games, so there's a lot of games to talk about, and today, we're talking about none other than Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion 3 wasn't just big for Nintendo Switch, it was one of Nintendo's biggest games of all time, literally racking in over 14 million copies sold. This is extreme, and I mean extremely good for a franchise like Luigi's Mansion, which at the time only had 2 games before 3 came out. This would be considered extremely good for a 3D Mario game, so for something like Luigi's Mansion to be doing this well, it was no doubt in my mind that Nintendo immediately started on Luigi's Mansion 4 soon after, and I can't wait to see exactly what this game is going to be. But the only thing we do know is it's probably going to be a big game for the earlier years of Switch 2. Will you believe that this October will mark 6 years since Luigi's Mansion 3 came out on the Switch? That's 6 years. So we are definitely due for a new Luigi's Mansion game, and I feel like it probably could be announced in this upcoming Nintendo Direct just because it's been so long already. I mean, to be completely honest with you, I know we're not going to be getting really any Switch 2 game information until April, which is still a long ways away and kind of deep into the year, but I still think we could even see Luigi's Mansion 4 release this year. There's a small chance, but I think it could happen, seriously. I know a lot of people, myself included, are expecting both 3D Mario and Mario Kart to be there this year, and I think it makes a lot of sense. If Mario Kart is near launch or even as a launch game, we could have 3D Mario as the big holiday title. I think that's just kind of writing itself, especially considering the fact that this is Mario's 40th anniversary year, so it just makes sense. With that though, Luigi's Mansion really wouldn't affect anything. Luigi's Mansion is not a kart racer, and it's not a 3D platformer. It's a completely different style of game. It's more of a puzzle exploration game, and I love the fact that this would fit perfectly along those 2 titles as well, kind of giving Mario 3 big games for his 40th anniversary. What makes this so awesome is this franchise is still so young, believe it or not, even though it started back in the GameCube days. Yeah, the first game was on the GameCube, with the second game being on the 3DS so many years later, and we had to wait all the way for the Nintendo Switch just to get the third game. So hopefully now that sales are right where Nintendo would definitely want them to be, way over if anything, we'll be getting more Luigi's Mansions, you know, in a lot quicker and faster rate. And also with the franchise being so fresh, there's so many untapped ideas that they could really just take this series. And I've actually made multiple, I mean like probably over 20 different videos with different ideas for what they could possibly do. You could literally just break apart each floor in Luigi's Mansion 3 and turn it into its own game. You could have a haunted cruise ship or a train or even museum to kind of mimic the movie Night at the Museum. Or they could even do something like Luigi's Mansion 1 and just have one big giant scary mansion for Luigi to traverse again, more of an open world, open zone type of game. Have another game kind of like Luigi's Mansion 2 with multiple different mansions in an area that maybe we could traverse at our own leisure, kind of walking outside and walking from mansion to mansion in a mini open world, but of course not being mission based. And even some of the fan concepts that I've seen online have just been immaculate. Like one person actually came up with an idea to have a haunted mushroom kingdom in like a different alternate timeline that EGAD helps you get to via like a time machine. And I've seen a lot of people bring up the idea like a circus, a mall, a fair, or maybe even an amusement park would be awesome locations for this next game. So as far as the theme of the game, I really don't care. And as far as graphics, we know it's going to look amazing. Luigi's Mansion 3 already is, in my opinion, the best looking Nintendo Switch game for Nintendo. I mean, seriously, there's no other game that rivals how good this game looks. The graphics are beautiful, and even when I go back and replay this game like once every 2 years, I still am blown away by how good this game is able to look on such outdated hardware. So with Nintendo having even just slightly better hardware, which we know is going to be way better than slightly, this next game is going to look phenomenal. Another thing that the next game needs to have to make sure it's extremely successful is Portrait Ghost boss battles. These things are so good, and they are the essence of Luigi's Mansion. I can't believe Nintendo ever took them out in the second game, and having them actually possess things, which is kind of pulled from the second game's Possessor Ghost, is so clever. Not only are you having non-generic ghosts possess different objects in order to fight them, like the T-Rex boss battle, but you also get to fight portrait-themed ghosts. Like, they're actually themed within the theming of the game, and they're not just these random ghosts that appear. It's so awesome, and it adds so much depth and story to the game. I love it. And honestly, I think one of the biggest complaints with Luigi's Mansion 3, and one of the only major complaint, is the fact that the lighting just seems a little too bright for something like Luigi's Mansion. And I kind of agree. Almost every single floor is pretty bright, and it doesn't really give off this feeling of you're in a scary haunted hotel or anything like that. Where the first game was the only one in the series that still to this day freaks me out when I play the game. It's so dark, it's so eerie, and you literally need to use that flashlight of Luigi's in order to figure out where you're going. Of course, the lights turn on after you clear the floor, but that initial darkness is something that I really hope returns in a future installment. Obviously, the lighting is going to be off the hook with a brand new console and brand new hardware, so I hope they're able to actually show this off, and I think this is going to be a great game to use as a graphical showcase of what the Switch 2 can do. Because if they come out and show a really dark, scary, brand new Luigi's Mansion game, that would be amazing. I kind of want them to go a little bit darker and scarier this time around, something along the lines of the Castlevania trailer for Simon and Richter, which actually was for Smash Ultimate, but featured Luigi actually running away from different creatures and enemies from the Castlevania series. And when I have seen this, I immediately said to myself, we need a Luigi's Mansion with this kind of tone, because it is actually kind of scary and gave me a little bit of goosebumps when I was watching him run through the halls. To simply give Luigi some new abilities, maybe more unique and open areas for him to explore, and more creepiness factor added to it with the lighting and maybe some more creepy style of ghost, and you got yourself a great Luigi's Mansion 4 concept already. Now, the only thing that's kind of scary is Next Level Games, the producers of the Luigi's Mansion series now, has actually just made Mario Strikers Battle League. Well, I can't really say just. It was in 2022, so about 3 years ago, 2.5 really. So I hope that doesn't affect the production of the next Luigi's Mansion game. I hope they have two separate teams that are working on this stuff. They probably do, because they've done so with things in the past. For instance, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon was in 2013, followed by Metroid Prime Federation Force in 2016. Yeah, it's funny because they have some absolutely stellar games with some absolutely horrible games thrown in there as well. So yeah, it's a strange output. But like I said, I'm sure the development of Mario Strikers Battle League didn't directly affect Luigi's Mansion 4 in any way. At least I hope not. So I am definitely expecting to see this game very, very soon, and we could see it as soon as the upcoming Nintendo Direct in April. But definitely let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for this next Luigi's Mansion game, and do you think we're actually going to see it with the Switch 2 showcase? Could it even release this year, or at least just be announced this year? Let me know what you think down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.